Hello and welcome. I hope you're safe and well. In today's exciting episode, I make a jacket that's very spectacular. It's hot pink, metallic, and it has flowers on it.
It's perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Perfect jacket.
Well, I didn't know about perfect, but it's definitely something. I just thought I'd do a Valentine's, because it's Valentine's Day this week. I just thought I'd do something either pink or red or something with flowers. And I was like, how about all of that all together? And yeah, so it's definitely a bit much, but it was also fun to do. So first of all, here is the fabric. It's hot pink metallic lame or lame. People say it different ways. Anyway, it's sort of this really thin foil glued like with fabric glue to this mesh, so it's kind of rubbery and stretchy and very weird and too thin. And I think next time I'll use it, I'll put some quilting cotton as a backing fabric. Anyway, this is the McCall's pattern that I used. It's a discontinued pattern. I don't actually recommend it. I recommend Vogue 7975, but because I'm doing beads all in the arms, the sleeves need to be wider. This is also a good pattern, Berta 6123. If you want a really simple pattern, go the Berta 6123. Otherwise, if you want a standard Chanel style jacket, I would go the Vogue 7975. But I'm using this one because it's got slightly baggier sleeves. Anyway, so I cut out 2 layers of my backing fabric. This black is a netting or a net or a netting. It's called different things in different stores, but any store like a big cheap fabric store like Joann's, it's in the costume, cosplay or novelty fabric section. It's only a few dollars per yard, but it's such a useful fabric. Anyway, it's going to provide structure to the whole piece. So I cut out 2 sets of the netting in the black, and then once I pinned them together, because I just need a bit more than 1 layer wouldn't have been strong enough, so I needed 2 layers. And then I pinned them together, then I pinned them onto my metallic fabric and slowly cut out each individual piece of that. So this took forever, but I eventually cut them all out. And a couple of the pieces are slightly lighter. That's because the front lining panel is hot pink metallic, but I only needed 1 layer on the back, so that's why that one's a little bit lighter. Like the 2 outside pieces are lighter than everything else. So then I pinned the whole of the torso of the jacket together, so center front, side back, center back, like all the pieces are pinned together the way I have to machine sew them together. And then I also did the same with the so once I've machine sewn the long seams are basically what you call all the straight seams in a jacket. And then I also pinned together the sleeves. So this sleeve, as well as the Vogue 7975, has a 2-piece sleeve. The upper sleeve is the big bit and the undersleeve is that smaller bit. So you just lay them out like this, and then you you match at the notches, the back of the back bit, and then you match their front. And so there you go. It does take a while because there's like 3 layers on each piece, and you've got to make sure you keep them all together. So you've got the 3 layers of one piece, 3 layers of the other piece, and you've got to pin all 6 layers together. And then I had to machine sew everything. And here you can see I've machine sewn, and then the next step is to pin back the seam allowance and stitch that down. But this fabric, this foily metallic hot pink fabric, is like, it's so thin and rubbery and weird. You would be able to see the stitches if I hand stitched them. So I decided instead to bead it, and that way, I mean, obviously you're still stitching, but because you're using beads, it looks like just beads rather than stitches. So these are the beads that I have. I have had these beads for the longest time, and I don't know why, but I just decided to put them all into one big Ziploc bag, like those ones that you use to put like a whole chicken in or something for in the freezer or something. They're just these massive Ziploc bags. And I was like, oh, I wonder how many flowers I have. So I put them all into one big bag. So anyway, I had loads of flowers and I was like, I wonder if I can use them all up. So at this point, I was watching a documentary and I was just like, I'll do a few beads. And I worked on it all night. I was watching a couple of things actually. And this is the next morning. So as you can see, I did get a little bit carried away, but it was also fun. And I did them in a group. But before I started it, I just assumed I would do like random beading. So the rose-coloured ones, the red-coloured ones, the magenta-coloured ones, and the pink ones. I thought I'd do a reasonable, like a random mix of them. But I ended up doing it in grouped, like clusters of this, clusters of that. And I actually really like it. So, yeah, and this fabric is weird. When I bought it, I guess I thought it was, because I'm so used to working with wools and tweeds, they're you can't really see through them as much as these. This just wrinkles and it's just the weirdest fabric and it looks horrible. Like, I love the colour, I love the metallicness of it all, but it is unflattering. Like, you can see this is the bit that I took of my work in progress. And, someone asked me, how do you stick the beads on? Well, it's like a big disc and you thread your thread through the disc and then you put a little bead on top and then you thread back through the big disky flower thing. So you just have to use 2 beads instead of 1. So it's easier if you sort of think of each of the flower as a disc rather than an actual bead. Anyway, so I've got I've got like 3 different coloured small beads as well as all the flower ones. And I just kept going. So so here we go. Here's me showing you some of my flowers, and I just found it easier to have them in stacks, so I could like just take this pile and use all them, do this pile and use all them. It did take me a while to sort them into their little stacks again after I'd put them all in a bag mixed together. But yeah, so I have so many of these flowers. That's the thing, like I just buy beads and after several years, you end up with just the biggest collection. And yeah, I mean, it's fun to look through, but sometimes I forget what I've even got. And there's just so many sometimes. Anyway, so this is the sleeves. So I did a little bit more on the body of the torso of the jacket and also working a little bit on the sleeves. But I just thought, because it's such a weird, slinky, weird fabric, like it's just so odd. Like it's a little bit rubbery, but it's a little bit like a gold leaf. You know gold leaf, how it sort of falls apart? It's like that. It's too thin and it's just a very strange fabric. I mean, it looks good once it's done, but and this is me attaching the sleeves. Now that I've done like enough, I was like, okay, I can't put it off anymore. I've got to set the sleeves. So there's a bunch of notches on the sleeves, and I find it easier to put pins in where they are. So then, I eventually pinned them together, and this fabric is really difficult to pin through because it's like rubbery, so the pins don't want to go in it. So difficult. Now I've still got the neckline to do. This is me showing you, like, these are the worst sleeves I've ever done. Anyway, after you machine sew the sleeves on, you clip the curves and then you pin the seam allowance up into the sleeves, and it just helps round out the sleeves, and then you have to stitch it into place. But of course, because this is foil, like when you stitch it into place on a tweed, your cotton thread or your poly thread sort of nestles into the wool and you can't see any of the stitches. But this is metallic, and if I stitch through this, you would see every single stitch. So I sort of had to do it from the back, just on the netting layer. it was so difficult. And then after I did that, I just did some more flowers over the seams in the shoulders. And this is me looking at, I still have so many flowers to go. Like I put them into, I had enough flowers to put into 6 little containers, and I've used up about 2.5 containers of flowers. So I've still got more than half of all my flowers to go. And I still haven't done the neckline either. So yeah, but I've run out of time, obviously, because I don't have that much time. But it's I like it. It's this fabric is really, really difficult to work with, but it looks so pretty. So I'm in two minds. I've got some more of this fabric in like blue, gold. I just sort of went, okay, I'll get 1 yard of everything, and green. I've also got some green, but I love the look of it, but just it doesn't I don't know. I love the shimmeriness and the metallicness, but the seams, it sort of just goes stretchy and weird. You can see sort of on the underarm, that's just like, it wasn't like that. And then like you move it around a bit and it, yeah. So I think I'm going to put like, this is only about half the amount of flowers. So it's going to be covered enough. Now you're still going to see a little bit of the metallic, so you'll see how cool the metallic is, but I'll also make sure I put enough flowers so that you don't see the wrinkly bits. But I just don't see how you can not have wrinkly bits, because it's just, I don't know. I think the next time I do this, instead of doing 2 layers of the backing fabric of the netting, I might try 3 layers, but I'll also put an interlining piece of quilting cotton. So I'll go foil, quilting cotton, 3 layers of netting. Oh, it's going to be a nightmare to sew, but I think that will make the whole thing look better. I don't know. But I mean, I love it. Obviously, I need more of the pink, those big pink flowers in the top of the back, and need to do the neckline. But all in all, I think it looks very Barbie and fantastic. It's so cute. And yes, as I said, I've got lots of flowers left to go. So I think I'll watch another documentary or something and do some more of this. But yeah. It's cute. I like working with these flowers. You get to, I sort of work with I do a handful of one and then a handful of the next. And that way you never get bored, because you're always alternating between all the different ones. And it's so hilarious. It's very bright and happy, and yeah, the things I'm watching at the moment are quite serious. So it's a nice counterbalance to all these serious, terrible things and this ridiculously over-the-top Barbie-looking jacket. I'm not sure it's very Valentine's Day-ish. I don't know. I mean, it is pink and red, and it does have flowers on it. I do have some heart-shaped beads, and I was tempted, but I don't know. I like that it's just flowers. I don't know. It's very... Oh, it's so over the top, isn't it? I don't know. It's fun. And I've got the vintage knits jacket on the left there that it looks a lot greener now that it's next to this ridiculously hot pink jacket. But yeah, that's sort of yin and yang of, they've both got ample amounts, like ridiculous amounts of beading on them. Can't really see the amount of beading that there is on this one though, on the vintage knit one. I feel like this one you can actually see every single bead, and they're all ridiculously over the top. So yeah. The other, I think I will use all the beads on this, because I'm like, should I just use half the beads and then save the other half for something else? But I think I'd rather just use them all on one. So basically what you see now, I'm going to do a second tier. So they're going to be over the, like, sort of a canopy of beads over the beads that are already there. So it's going to look more complex and dense and everything. And the vintage knit one, that's going to end up with almost 2,000 beads on it, I think I roughly worked it out. Whereas this one probably has the same amount of beads, but they're just so different. Anyway, that's it for this video. I haven't finished it, but I will show it to you once I finished it. And thanks very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you've been inspired to make a special Valentine's Day jacket or dress of your own. I don't recommend using a super difficult fabric like this one. I mean, I love the metallic look, but gosh, it was so difficult to work with. And it's even like just stabbing your needle through it, it sort of bounces a little bit because it's like the glue that sticks the mesh to the foil. It makes it all sort of weird and rubbery. So strange. But I am determined that it's going to look adorable once it's finished. Anyway, thanks again for watching. Happy sewing.